Dang, man. Now that we started recording, I realized I probably should have got the NBA or NBC music going just to start the show.
How he just casually throws it on. I guess the game is literally about to start for you guys.
Yeah, I got to rep my set too.
Hey, well, we're moving on. We're waiting on you guys to meet us there so we can get some of that payback.
I'm telling you, man, we got to get that payback because last year it hurt and we lost in Atlanta fashion. But
yeah,
guys,
that's what made it worse.
This is not a baseball show, so we're not going to open up with baseball, man. This is our first show for the 2021-2022 NBA season, man. Big Baby and friends, let's talk hoops. What's up, EB? How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. Ready to kick this season off.
You know, since the last time you've been here, EB, you've gone through some life changes, man. How's that life for you now?
Got married, 10 out of 10. Do not recommend. So for y'all that are still single, keep it that way. But no, it was great. Being married is the shit, and wedding was kind of fun too. You had a good time.
I had a great fucking time. We got Liddy and the Lido.
Liddy and the Lido.
Hey, what's up, Parlay Pete? You're here every week, so you don't get nice words.
Well, I don't need them, but it's good to be back, and it's I'm glad that everybody can get a daily dose of me now, as opposed to just like a once a week thing. Now you can eat me more than once.
Man, we're going to have a good time Thursday because I haven't sent you the topics for Thursday, but we're going in on Chris and Al, and we're going to go in on Gruden. That's going to be
talk about Gruden. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, Gruden's going to be the open. Eric, do you have any words for Gruden since we're here?
Bro, you can't say that. All the things I was like, you can't say that. So, yeah, it's just a bad look. Even the first email and then all the ones that came out after, New York Times, got your ass, man. It's a very bad look.
They say it may have been a hit job by Goodell.
I honestly think that would not be surprising the least.
But anyways, man, it's basketball season, and we're going to talk some hoops. So, yesterday we were just blessed with some great news because like Uber Eats or maybe a package from DHL or FedEx, Ben Simmons just showed up at Wells Fargo Arena practically unannounced, and Elton Brand wasn't expecting him. So we're going to go to you first, EB. Ben Simmons, right? He's had a crazy offseason. I mean, our Hawks, shout out to the city that starts with an A. We sent him packing. I think we stripped him of his pride and his dignity. And the Philly fans, they really felt that. And they voiced that. Doc Rivers said how he felt about it. I mean, Joel Embiid spoke about it. And then Ben kind of said, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be on a team that's built around me, that maximizes my skills. He talked about how, Philly was not sensitive to his mental health. So he tried to hold out. But I was telling people, man, look, Daryl's going to win this. I love Clutch, but Daryl might have the biggest dick in the NBA. Like, Daryl's going to win this. Pause.
Where's your sound effect for that?
Huh?
So where's your sound effect for that?
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
That's for Grudy.
Yeah.
But anyways, over to you, Eric, man. Give me your initial thoughts on what's up with Ben Simmons, his holdout, and him actually showing back up with his tail in between his legs.
None of this surprises me. Like, if we all saw him in the playoffs, he was a complete dud against the Atlanta Hawks, who are a good team. I'm sure we're going to talk about them later. They're a good team. They should have beaten the Knicks, and it should have ended there with Trey being like the villain in Madison Square Garden. We had a great time. They should have lost that series in 5. Should have been a gentleman's sweep, and Ben Simmons was a dud. Then got pulled from the Olympics. He didn't have any problems. Clutch told him, we can't have a bigger sample size of you being trash in big-time basketball. And he was going to be playing a team with KD, Dame, and a bunch of other NBA superstars. And it was going to be him and Patty Mills. So if you can't do it with Joel Embiid, you're not doing it with Patty Mills. So we going to yank you because we can't have people seeing you playing bad. We didn't see any of them videos of him shooting in the offseason. Like, Ben got the jumper going. Like, none of that was around. And now he wants to go. He wanted to at first go to the LA teams or the Warriors. Wasn't happening. Like, who were they going to give up for you? And now he wants to go. He honestly should be on a team that's bad. So then if they don't perform, no one's going to blame him. Look at the dudes who get numbers on bad teams. People are like, oh, this dude's a hooper. He needs to be on a good team. That's why he wants to go to a bad team. He wanted out. There were not any suitors. So now he's coming back with his tail between his legs because he's not getting what he wants. He's under contract. Like, what did he think was going to happen? Why would they suit his needs when they have him under contract?
Before I go to you, Parlay Pete, maybe he wanted to go to LA. We can't give you LA, but here's what we can do. We can give you LA East, DC. You join up with Kuz, you join up with KCP, you join up with Trez, and you get the closest thing to the LA experience that you can get playing NBA basketball right now.
But what do they get for him if they send him to DC? They're not getting Bradley Beal.
I mean, that's the only piece I would want. We'll give you Ben and Maxey and Matisse if you want him.
Yeah, I just don't see them giving up anything for him. His stock had plummeted at that point, so they could get Lonzo and 2 Red Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, he was on the dollar menu. I mean, yeah, somebody will take you, but it's going to be somebody that doesn't eat good. They don't really care about themselves, or they were really drunk, one or the other. You know what I mean? That's who was going to take you. And at this point, I'm glad that he caved in, because look, you guys make too much money to not be making money. You know what I mean? Like, you make too much money for that. And Ben is just he's in one of those situations where he knows the fans don't want him back either. You know what I mean? Like, because think about that. In a passionate city like Philly, he's got to go back and deal with that. If his play doesn't speak for itself, he's going to get booed regardless. And maybe it's going to be one of those things that does carry over into the regular season, kind of like last year with Harden, when Houston was playing with him and it was apparent like he didn't want to be there. Like, he was very straightforward about it. They got these COVID regulations. This guy's smacking ass, in strip clubs, hanging out with Lil Baby, like all that shit. And he was able to, get his way. Now, granted, James Harden is an MVP. He's an elite player. Even his defense, regardless of how bad he is defensively, and he actually improved on. I thought he looked like he gave a damn playing defense in Brooklyn, especially in the playoffs while he was half hurt. He was actually doing a pretty fucking good job, I thought, using his size or whatever. But Ben isn't him, and so that's kind of the issue. He had to come back down to earth. These guys haven't been told no their entire lives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when Ben was at LSU, it was his team. They didn't have to make the NCAA tournament, but Ben,
and they sucked.
Yeah, they sucked, exactly. And these guys aren't used to being told no, and he got a dose of reality that he's not worth that much in the league, especially on that contract. And so he really had no other choice. Good move by him. I don't know how that's going to fuck with the chemistry. We already know, like I said, how the fans are going to react. He's going to have to let his play speak for itself, and maybe he can get traded before All-Star week.
But I mean, honestly, anytime the going gets tough for him, he punks out. Like, look what happened at LSU. Look at what happened with the Sixers. The only time we've literally seen him at the top of his game was in high school when he was bigger and better than everybody. And his starting 5 all went D1 and literally all went to the league. Maybe there's like one person who didn't.
Yeah.
Like, they were smashing everybody, number 1 team in the nation. They've been the number 1 team in the nation for like 5 years now. So I'm saying once it got tough when he was at LSU, he just gave up on that season. And then he got to the Sixers and is doing the same thing. When it gets tough and Ben Simmons needs to grit up, he does not do that.
Well, I was out on Ben Simmons a long time ago. Well, I shouldn't say out. I told y'all, man, Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons. And they said, oh, you're just a Duke homer. Ben Simmons does this, he does that. And once he develops his game, he never developed his game. And then you look at his draft class, another one of his draft mates, Jaylen Brown. Who you want today? Jaylen Brown, who can give you 25 for real? Like 25 real buckets? Brandon Ingram, all-star, 2 all-stars. Would you want Ben Simmons? I'll go to you, Eric, first. Like, which one would you want? B.I., Ben, or Jalen.
Right now, I would take BI and Tatum over Ben. But when you said that take, you were wilding. Because you think about it, Philly was talking about they need to trade one of the two of them. And people were saying, like, you got to get Embiid out of there. He's getting in the way of Ben Simmons. And now it's much more apparent, like, Ben is the one that needs to go. But that could flip-flop again. Like, Embiid, barring injury, was the MVP this season. And it was at the beginning of the season. We got to get Embiid out of here. Like, Ben needs to be able to have his own team to be able to run. And those two don't work in his own team. Maybe it's better. I still don't think in his own team he's BI or Jalen. I think there's a lot he needs to do with his game. But you were wilding for that take back then.
Hey, man, sometimes they call geniuses crazy, but then when stuff comes true, I mean, sometimes you're a visionary. But Parlay P, do you think that Ben Simmons in the right situation could be Giannis light?
Absolutely not. He doesn't. Yeah, he does a lot of things well, but he doesn't do, the things that he doesn't do well, he doesn't improve on either. Giannis, we actually saw the leap of him doing well. Giannis used to couldn't shoot a 3-point ball. Now it's respectable enough to where you're not going to leave him wide open. People will leave Ben Simmons wide open.
No. You leave him wide open, but he'll just make one every now and then. Ben just won't shoot it.
Well, but that's my point. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So in that case, that's exactly what that is. He's not, whether he takes it or he doesn't take it. There's a clip of him against the Hawks. He won't even shoot a fucking layup. He was wide open on the block once and
Pierce, remember the game that we went to, and you could just see how defeated Ben Simmons was on the court. Like, Eric, let me tell you, we're at this game, and it's one thing to see stuff on TV, but to be in the arena and watching that every time Ben Simmons got the ball, he got booed. And when he would just when he would come out the game, he gets booed. When he comes in the game, he gets booed. And he would just go to the end of the bench, like tail tucked between legs. You could just see the fear in him just being in the arena. You go, this guy just doesn't have it at all. He like another guy that they drafted to that team, Markelle Fultz. He just had the whips or whatever they called it, the yips. It was just his self-esteem was zapped. So when he came out and said something about the team not being responsive to his mental health issues, I believe him. And I don't think he was using it as just an excuse, because I watched somebody who had their confidence pulled from them in a playoff series, whereas he's probably never been told no ever in his life or anything that mattered to him. So, he's not used to that. He hasn't had to deal with that adversity. Like one of you said earlier, when the tough gets going, kind of like our boy Herb, Ben gets going.
He reminds me of that meme. There's a meme about like junior sailors in the military, and it's like, I joined the military to get a Charger, and y'all making me do all this work. Like I just wanted to get the Camaro with a Charger. And Ben Simmons is like, yo, I just signed up so I can make money and date models, and y'all out here like,
no.
Y'all wanted me to play basketball.
Say fuck hoes. Just say fuck. You can't say fuck hoes. I can say I just doing the fuck hoes.
IG model, whatever you want to say. That he's like, I wanted to make some money, be out here styling, like doing the fashion thing, whatever, and talking to IG models. And y'all want me to finish in the playoffs? Like this is not what I signed up for. That's what he reminds me of. What do you mean you want me to make a layup in the playoffs when Trae Young, who's 5'9" on his best day, is guarding me in the post? Why would I do that? I want to slide in DMs.
Right, I'm supposed to be fucking a Kardashian. Isn't this the rite of passage of the NBA? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you guys aren't talking about. Nobody talks about Lamar Odom that way. You know what I mean? He doesn't get that type of talk. Everybody talks about his drug problem. Nobody talks about what he did on the court. I made more money than him already. And so Ben is just one of those guys that he's such a polarizing, like in terms of his talent on the court, he's polarizing because there's so many people that really do believe. I've heard somebody call him baby LeBron. If he developed the shot, that he's LeBron James. And of course, there's the Magic Johnson comparisons too. I've never seen it personally. Even at Ben's best, last year when they said that the Rockets would have traded, Ben Simmons for James Harden, and they didn't do it, I'm just thinking to myself, man, And Morey, and we know that Morey is the one that wanted. Morey wanted Hart. That's why I sent that love letter to him at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean? Because for all intents and purposes, he was the most important player in Daryl Morey's career in regards to an acquisition. And that was the start of something nice in Houston. They never finished it. And who knows, if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt all the time, maybe they do beat Golden State. We'll never know. But he was obviously championing the idea of bringing him in. And it's just like, so was it the owner? Was it Elton?
Oh, you know, it's Tillman.
It was the Rockets owner.
It was Tillman Fertitta. He's like, I'm not going to help Morey. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a package that's going to equate to nothing instead of taking a player who I can actually build around.
Or just do what Houston did anyways. And they ended up, the players that they got, they traded away anyways for something. You could have taken Ben Simmons in just to trade him to somebody else almost.
I look back at that trade and I understand why Fertitta didn't want to help Daryl, but that was just fucking stupid. I mean, what are you going to do?
Hey, he owns the Gold Nugget, right, in Vegas?
Yeah.
He's a gambler. There you go. That's why.
But KD ends up signing an extension, so it's like, well, KD's going to be locked up in Brooklyn pretty much through the time of the draft picks that you expect to receive. You're getting nothing. And here's the thing about Ben, where you can't even put him in the same category as a Jimmy Butler, a James Harden, any other disgruntled player, Anthony Davis, who demanded a trade. Dog, you got 4 years left on contract. What do you mean you want to leave? I'm like, no, you're going to be here until I can get what I want from you. And I think he should have played in the Olympics. I mean, look at what Luka did in the Olympics. He elevated his profile even more. We had Americans out here, mainly white Americans, rooting for Luka to win the gold. And I'm like, oh, y'all rooting against America.
Well, it was people that legitimately thought, hey man, if Slovenia plays the United States, I don't know. You know,
no, Bill Simmons was saying, and I'm like, yo, KD will go bucket for bucket with this nigga, with Zach LaVine, with Dame Lillard, with Bam, with Chris Middleton, with Devin Booker on his side. Luka got me and you.
A little bit paler, but yeah, I get it. I get it. You know, but yeah, Ben might have, like you said, helped his profile out a little bit more if he did play in the Olympics, especially because Australia did so well, of course, and they were kind of, for an international squad, they were a little bit stacked. Like, you know what I mean? I think that most people don't even realize just how many Australian players are. Like, you know, Joe Ingles, bro. Like
after France, and even up there with France, like they got pretty good NBA talent on the team.
They really put it this way, they can have an NBA lineup from a standpoint of just like a regular NBA rotation, a 1 through 8 that they play, and it's nothing but.
Nothing, 3-4 players will do it for you. 3-4 NBA players will do it.
Nothing but stars and actual role players in the NBA on that team. Like,
and I'll tell you the difference between like a France, an Australia, and like the USA is those teams actually stock their rosters with role players who can do the things that our players won't do. I'm sorry, you're asking Zach LaVine to sit down in the chair and play defense because
he actually stepped up and was locking people up in the Olympics. He had the straps on in the Olympics.
He did. I shouldn't have said LaVine. But you get what I'm saying. Like the USA, we put our best scorers out there and say, "Hey, yo, go beat these go out here and run and play ball."
Not over technique for sure is definitely it. But you also got to look at it this way too. This was Pop's first year coaching the USA team. You used to Coach K, kind of more so running that run and gun talent. Is this Pop's bringing his Spurs system to USA basketball?
And Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson's fucking playing like minutes, like because he knows his system. You know what I mean? That's
because he's his player. If I'm the coach, my son is batting third. He's playing pitcher. My son is the quarterback. My son is the point guard. My son is doing everything. So I get exactly why Keldon Johnson was on that team. My son is going everywhere.
This man Keldon Johnson might be the worst gold medalist in USA basketball history.
Okay.
Christian Laettner.
No. Christian Laettner Christian Laettner came out of college as that guy. Should Shaq have been
You're
on
right.
that team?
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. You're right. I give you that. You're right. And
Christian
he actually
Laettner-
was an all-star. He actually
Yeah,
was an
he was
all-star.
an all-star one year for the Hawks.
For what it's worth, Keldon Johnson's honestly, because I did NBA fantasy last year too, and he was on my team. He's honestly a good young player, though. Now he's not. His ceiling is like
he's not an Olympian.
The productivity of like Jamal McGlure with the Hornets. Jamal McGlure made All-Star games with the Hornets. He did. A lot of people don't even remember it. You know what I mean? And think about it. I'm not even giving him the David West shine, but Jamal McGlure was an all-star in the NBA. And that's a name you haven't heard in fucking 10 years. But I'm just saying, in terms of what he can be for like a team like the Spurs, he has that type of like ceiling to where he can eventually one day be a one-time all-star, two-time all-star. So he's a good young talent. I like him.
And I believe that. I just wanted to take an easy pot shot at him. One last thing on this Ben Simmons thing, because I think the clutch haters are taking their victory lap here because they're like, clutch gave in. They finally didn't get what they want. That nigga is not going to win this time. But, I mean, for one, no agency wins every time. What Rich Paul and Clutch is doing is nothing different than any of the mega agents have ever done in any sport. But do y'all have any words for the Clutch haters for them finally taking an L in a negotiation?
You love to see it.
Are you anti-Clutch?
I don't like the way they move. Like, yes, every mega agent has some shady dealings, so he just lumped in there with me. I like what he's doing, getting his paper. Like, my man's do your thing. But as much as I love Anthony Davis coming to the Lakers, I don't like how he drove his way out of it. Granted, I understand he had a gripe, but now with Ben Simmons, like, you're not going to get the same treatment that LeBron's going to get. You're not going to get the same treatment AD is going to get. And it backfired on him. And they thought
you're not going to get the same treatment John Wall was getting back when John Wall got the Supermax.
Yeah, so it's just kind of cool to see it. Like, I don't mind Rich Paul leveraging what he's got when it's the players that can make these kind of moves. But, hey, Ben, that's not true.
Rich Paul can't just keep winning. You know what I mean? Everybody takes an L every now and then. This man is sidelined with Adele. Adele's looking great, by the way.
She is.
Hello. She looks. I can't honestly. I couldn't. When I saw, I think she was on Vogue or something. I saw the picture and I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "That's Adele." Like,
didn't you send it to the group?
Yeah, I think I did because I was like, I couldn't fucking believe it. She looks fantastic. But regardless, Rich can't. He can't just hold all the W's to himself. And
John Wall is Supermax. That man has not played an NBA season's worth of games since he signed his Supermax.
And then for what it's really worth, come on, let's get the elephant out of it. This was a fuck you to LeBron James. Indirectly.
Yeah.
It is, because we all know that essentially Clutch is just the player ran agency. That is exactly what that is. I'm not trying to discredit Rich Paul at all. No. But Rich gets that money from LeBron. It's LeBron. LeBron has his own agency. That is his Rock Nation to Jay-Z. Like, you know what I mean? That's exactly what that shit is. And I'm not calling Rich Paul a puppet or anything, because he isn't. I think that they're legit. Like, Rich Paul legitimately is doing this stuff. But this is just another, like, kind of like LeBron, you can't control everything in the league type shit. Like, you know what I mean? And granted, it's not like Ben Simmons was coming to the Lakers or anything, but LeBron, his influence over the league, it's just one of those things. He's getting older. They got Russ, and as a Lakers fan myself, like, we'll see what happens with that. But
we'll get to them. You say that, and I didn't think about it that way, but yeah.
It is, bro.
Because the league assumes that LeBron is Rich Paul's Geppetto, and he's just Pinocchio out here. Where I think he just has a relationship with the best player in the league, and y'all are mad that y'all don't have him as a client. CAA, he left y'all to go independent, and And yeah, because they like, bro, Rich Paul didn't come up through the ranks like he was supposed to. And now he just trying to run the league, and he out here saying, "Hey, bro, yeah, that last year on his contract, you might as well avoid it because you got to move us because we're not going to resign. Get you an asset." He found the loophole. But speaking of players who another player who may not be playing for his team this year. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving. I've came on this platform and I've talked about my thoughts on the vaccine. I'm vaccinated. I know that you two are as well. And I'm not here to tell people to go get the vaccine. You do it whatever you want. I could care less what you do, because I protected myself against the vid, even though I already had it. But if I'm a teammate of Kyrie's and he's saying I'm not trying to get the vax, I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't really care about your personal stances. I'm trying to get this chip. I'm gonna need you to be here. And the Nets came out today after first yesterday. Steve Nash said, "Oh yeah, well, we were preparing for Kyrie to be here for away games," and GM was Sean Marks was having none of that. He was like, "Nah, bro. Until you get vaxxed, you might as well just turn in your Nets gear, bro. You're not with the team." So go to you first, Parlay Pete. If you're Kevin Durant, you're James Harden. What are you saying in the group text to Kyrie? Not the team group text, the KD, James Harden, Kyrie group text. The ballers group text. What you saying to that man? Let's just role play. I'm Kyrie. We'll make you KD, Parlay Pete, and EB. We'll make you James Harden since you're from LA.
And a lefty. Don't forget it.
I bet. So let me shoot off the text. Hey, bro. You see what Sean said, bro. I'm sorry, dog. I ain't getting that vax.
Just explain to me, bro. I respect your decision and everything, and I totally understand. I really do, because you can't be forced to do something that you don't want to do. But seriously, tell me what the real reason is for why you don't want to get it.
Because you see how this Western medicine is, bro. I can't really trust that. And you see my history, my injury history, where I've been hurt a few times, but now that I've changed my diet, I've changed my lifestyle, I've looked at other ways of healing, and I found myself to be a more healthy individual. I feel better. I'm not looking better. I look like 40 now, but I just feel like a better person. I had my best season last year. I just feel like I just can't trust these people because you never know what this government could be up to, man. You know about the Tuskegee experiment, dog. Like,
absolutely,
I can't be one of them.
And as you know, me and James get hurt all the time too, and we both done it, and we're still kicking ass in practice. Ain't nothing changed with me, but I still do respect everything that you're doing, but it is ultimately hurting our goal. The reason I came here, the reason that you came here, even before James got here, we came here together. The reason that we came here is because we both wanted to win championships, because everybody looked at us as somebody that tailed with somebody else to win our championships, even though I was the best player on my team when I won those championships, and you made the biggest play in winning yours. But
James, you hear what he's talking about right now, though? He's talking about championships and rings and physical things on this earth. Dog, life is bigger than that, man. It's about becoming one with yourself, and if these people in their constructs want to judge us by championships and wins and losses, they don't get it, because you see what me and you do on the court. Nobody has a step back like you. Nobody under 6'5" can finish at the rim like I can. We got two of the best handles in the leagues. And Kate, bro, come on, man. You the Slim Reaper for a reason, dog. Easy money sniper, dog. Like, we're true ballers. Like, we don't have to give in to these constructs for people to know that we ball, bro. I just want to hoop. Come on, James. You hear this, man?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. I feel it, man. AKD, we finna eat because now he's not taking the ball out our hands. We finna win the chip for real with this fool in his house burning sage.
Hey, if my big ass toe wasn't on that fucking line, we would have won the ship this year anyways without that.
Exactly. I'm saying look what happened to Boston when he went out. Look what happens to teams when he go out. So I'm saying we're gonna do the same thing. The ball in your hands more now, the ball in my hands more now. I think we better off without him.
Oh, and you remember that young nigga that we drafted, that fucking walking bucket out of LSU? I forgot his name.
Cam
The
Thomas.
rookie, Cam Thomas. Yeah, that nigga can fucking put the ball in the hole, and he's a guard too. So I guess he's gonna be on the floor more with us.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be all right. Yeah, Kyrie, do what you got to do, cuz we'll
Man,
catch you
hold
on
on,
flip.
bro. I got a lot of.
Hey, just don't ask me for no money, bro. I mean, I know you straight. You still got your shoes. I'm sure Nike gonna support you probably more than anybody because we know they support niggas that don't play. And so, you know, no cap, but nonetheless, yeah, man. I think that Kyrie.
That was a good job, y'all.
I'm not
That was a
mad
good job.
Like I can speak candidly about why I got it. I got it done, and I got it done early. Like I got it done early, not necessarily because I want to protect like my family or anything like that. And I had a brother. One of my brothers had COVID too. I got it because I already knew that these regulations were coming, and I was just in New York 3 weeks ago, and I couldn't go into places because obviously they have that. That's where the restriction is because my lady was not vaccinated, and so like I knew that there were restrictions that were coming. So for me, I'm somebody that loves to travel, and I like to not be restricted when I'm traveling. So from there, I just knew that I needed to get it, and it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I think that we get shots all the time, and I know that this is a recent piece of medicine that's came out. It's not like it's something like a tuberculosis shot or chickenpox shot or flu shot or whatever it is that you want to put on the table where we've been doing it for years. It's been tested enough. But I just look at it kind of as one of those things that wasn't a big deal. Nothing has changed in my life. I know Nicki Minaj had said something about her cousin's friend's balls or something. That didn't happen to me. And I know that everybody's a different person and we all react to stuff differently. And so I respect exactly what he's trying to do. And he could be a martyr in it. You know what I mean? He could be the face of anti-vax with this because he's leaving a lot of money on the table. And granted,
he's already the face of flat earth.
What people will fail to realize is that Kyrie's already rich. He's already accomplished outside of winning MVP. He's already done everything in the NBA that you can do. He's won a championship. He's been all NBA. He's been an all-star. He's done everything in the NBA. And arguably, if his career ended today and he said, you know what, I'm just going to retire because of this, he would still be strongly considered for the Hall of Fame.
He's a
basketball Hall of Famer. As soon as he hit the shot,
that's my point. So he could Calvin Johnson his way into the Hall of Fame too because of how good he was. Even though to me he was never the best player at his position at any time, I don't think that he was ever the best point guard in the NBA. But that's because that is got to be the most competitive position in the league. It went from Chris Paul to Steph. But regardless,
he's the most skilled. He's the most skilled point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, but he got injured a lot too, and maybe that's why I feel like he was never the best because he was.
Here's another thing, though. But Kyrie at his best, Kyrie playing his best game does not make his team better.
No.
Right, and we saw that with the Celtics.
I mean, that man should have been deferring to Tatum. He should have been deferring to first year Tatum, second year Tatum. Like, hey, bro, get that 6'8" bone and wing that ball. So you know what, Parlay Pete, similar to you, I figured like my job was gonna make me get it at some point, and I was tired of wearing masks at work. And they say, hey, you get a vaccine card, you ain't gotta wear a mask no more. I was like, all right, bet, shoot me up, doc. But then also, it was the same thing, man. I like concerts. You know, we're Falcon season ticket holders. I was pretty sure Arthur wasn't going to put that on us, but I didn't know if Roger was going to put it on us. You know,
right.
Pause. And if Roger said you got to have you got to have vax card to get into the game, or you got to show a negative COVID test, bro, I ain't got time to be taking COVID tests every other week before the game, bro. Just give me this damn shot just in case. And I went to Music Midtown, and part of that was negative COVID test or a proof of vaccination. So I did it to make my life easier. I waited for a little while. Honestly, I wasn't in a rush to get it because I was living in California and I couldn't do anything anyway. So it's like, it's communism out here. I'm locked up, so I might as well just be COVID free. But the thing is, I I was skeptical, and I wasn't even skeptical on the race thing, because a lot of black people are scared to take this shot because they think it's like a ploy to kill us or some shit. I don't know, but I was just like
another.
I mean, we got police out here doing that, so I mean, it's enough people trying to kill me. I'm not scared of another one, but my point was, I'm like, I done took shots my whole life.
You didn't know what was in them.
I didn't. I've been prescribed medicine. I just take it because the doctor told me. There's some things I've done that I won't show on this podcast randomly. I've made out with random chicks. I've had some raw sex too, And guess what, dog? Like, I've never just been like, oh, let me police what's going in my body. So I just can't do it now with a vaccine. And then when you see how many people are actually getting it, you go, well, if we're all going over the cliff, fuck it. I'm going over there too. So I just didn't care enough.
I did it because I thought I was going to get superpowers, and that ended up being a lie. So now I just got this vaccine.
But anyways, so I think we're all in agreement of we respect what Kyrie did or is doing. Like, hey, bro, it's your body, your choice, But at the same time, like, we a team. And for us to win as a team, we need you here. Or maybe they don't. But we would like to have you here because it might make it a little bit easier, especially if somebody gets hurt or if we want a night off and you can go out there and cook. And I kind of looked at it the same way. Oh, this is a good one for y'all. So we can talk about some women's mental health, right? When Gabby Douglas went through her piece with the Olympics.
You mean Simone
Biles?
Simone Biles. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Not Gabby Douglas. I'm so sorry, Queen.
Hey. You're mixing up Black Olympians, okay? They don't look the same.
I don't think they do.
I don't know. It sounds like something someone white would say.
Don't call me John Gruden. So anyways, with Simone Biles going through her thing, I said, look, I respect what she's going through, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, like you're bad for this or get better or whatever. I was like, whatever. But if I'm her teammate, I'm pissed. You're the best person on this team. I done trained my whole life to get Olympic gold, and you've lost your confidence. I respect your decision to withdraw because you're not right. Because you're not supposed. I don't want you out here if you're not right. But I can still have an opinion on you not being right because I want a gold. Am I crazy for trying to make that the correlation between the two?
Yeah, I would disagree because the way I see it is if you're the starting quarterback and then you break your arm and the backup got to come in. So it's just something you can't see is going on inside. So it's not as easy as like, oh, they bummed out. Like, I don't know what she was going through. I know she had a lot going on with the previous doctor they had and everything. She wasn't right. She wasn't right inside. It wasn't something you could physically see like a broken arm or a high ankle sprain, but she wasn't right. So the next person had to go in. To me, I equated that same way.
But what
you're on the IR, you got to put it like you wouldn't be mad if your quarterback broke his arm. Like quarterbacks break their arms.
No. My senior year, our quarterback got hurt game 1. I was pissed.
You were pissed at the situation, not him breaking his arm.
Well, now, yes, but that's the thing. Like I'm pissed that you're not here to be part of this team because you give us our best chance to win. Same for her.
But we really got to break this down even deeper. This isn't even Kyrie versus the NBA or the Nets. It's Kyrie versus the law, the government, because it's not like in the NFL, there are players that are not vaccinated. They don't require their players to be vaccinated, just like the NBA doesn't. But because it's indoors and it's in the city of New York, it's going to cause them to miss half the games. The GM is just simply looking at it from a standpoint of, I'm not trying to even half-ass this thing. If you can't be here, then we don't want you here at all, unless you're going to do what we deem, is right? It's more of Kyrie just going against kind of what America is doing in general. It's not like he's really against KD, Harden, Sean Marks, the Brooklyn Nets organization, or Adam Silver in the NBA. He's just bucking whatever it is that the United States and frankly the world as at large is kind of saying, get vaccinated. Like You know what I mean? Like this thing has been going on long enough. We continue to have restrictions. Everybody needs to fall in line. We don't give a fuck if you make $30 million a year, if you got your own sneaker, you got your own movie, and people call you Uncle Drew. Nobody cares. Is basically kind of what that is. And he's saying, well, guess what? I don't care about what it is that y'all are saying, because there are so many different theories that can debunk the idea of getting this shot, from a sense of, oh, well, you can still get it. And then why is it that people that have it are afraid to be around you, even if they can still get it, but they're protected against it and they're less likely to get it? They're less like, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of one of those things where he's more so kind of making not a political statement, but just a statement in general about personal rights. Like that's how I kind of look at it. And I'm not mad at him for doing it, because everybody has to kind of make their own decision. But I think that Kyrie will eventually get it, or else he's going to retire. I don't even think that there's going to be one or the other, because the rumor, obviously, that's already came out is that if they trade him, he's just gonna retire anyways. And so I think he will either eventually succumb to it and will get it done, or he's just not gonna play ever again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, like with his reservations and just using logic to kind of say, well, why am I doing this? Because nothing is changing in the way you're acting, even though you're vaxxed. Like, yeah, Kyrie, we're all on the same page, bro. We're just people who don't want our rights infringed upon. So we sold out. Essentially, we didn't take the stance. And the one thing I do want to say, though, is I'm not mad at him for taking his stance as a man. Again, if I'm his teammate, I think differently because I'm selfish and I'm thinking about our team being at their best. But when it comes to the human being saying what he's saying, like, yeah, bro, the way that if you're vaxxed, but you still got to wear a mask and you can't be around large groups, what's the point of me getting it then? Like, again, I know there are reasons why, because it makes the symptoms makes them easier to deal with. They're not as severe. So, okay, there goes your help for it. But then you have the guy down in Jonathan Isaacs who was like, yo, I've already had this. I have the antibodies. So my body is geared to fight against this. So, I mean, what are we really doing here? And I'm not going to make this a pro-vax or anti-vax conversation, because we can talk about that for days. And I just want to say I understand multiple perspectives on this. Now, I don't understand every perspective on it, because some stuff that people are saying is stupid. And the people who are just like, you're stupid if you don't get vaxxed, blah, blah, blah. No, you're probably wrong too. There's some gray area in here that we can all just say, hey, I understand your skepticism. I understand why you just went and done it. Like, it's okay. And just for Kyrie, the big thing for Kyrie and the people who are saying the NBA is forcing him to do that. Well, here's the thing. No company, nobody's entitled to employment with a company. So if you don't meet the standards of that the company sets for you, then you don't get to work there, even if you're more qualified than other people there. Exactly. And I think that goes into where society is moving towards. Like, you have to let me be a part of what you're doing, and you have to accommodate me and my beliefs no matter what. And it's like, whoa. This is my house. I pay these bills.
Exactly. And even on a smaller scale for me, like, I have my own company. I do staffing, and, so we're contracted by companies. And one of the companies that we work with, one of our biggest clients, they require their employees and our employees as temporary labor / staff labor to be vaccinated. So, like, I have to deal with this. I'm hiring people because, temporary labor, you go through people. I deal with this every day. I have to explain this to people every day. I personally, like we already stated, I'm vaccinated, but like my younger brother, Justice, isn't vaccinated. And we're both recruiting people, but we're both talking to them and telling them that they have to be in order to get the position. And we respect the idea of, I've gotten cursed out about it. Nah, I'm not getting this fucking shot. this, that, and the other. Some people that say, I'm willing to get it. You know, there are some people that in a weird way, I'm not saying that we got them to get it, but they did get it done in order to get the job. Either that, or they came up with a hell of a fake. And so,
they out there, bro. Especially
I know they're
Atlanta.
out there. I know people that have them, and so like, we're gonna cut that part though.
Scammers gonna scam.
Yeah, but regardless,
that.
I think that it's just a personal choice. Kyrie's gonna have to make that decision if he thinks that his career and what he's been working towards his whole entire life is worth being derailed, even if it is just for a year. He might even just sit out, just like in the NFL last year. Players opted out. They're playing today. You know what I mean? Maybe he just sits out a year, and then next year it's not one of those things. Maybe it is kind of gone to where New York's lifts that ban of indoors, you must be vaccinated. We don't know. But he's going to have to make that conscious decision because they got a game next Tuesday that I got to bet on, and I really need to know, you know, so I can get my odds and shit right with the Bucks, you know?
Okay, so we've talked about Kyrie enough. Let's talk MVP. So I listen to a few people when it comes to basketball, and a few of those people I used to hold in high regard, but the older and older I get, the less and less I'd be like, oh man, here they go talking that nonsense. So Luka is the favorite for MVP. He is the betting favorite for MVP. The Mavericks are not a favorite to win the championship, nor are they the favorite to win the West. And I'm not the most Vegas fluent guy, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Vegas is putting out an MVP candidate that people can rally behind and throw a bunch of money on, and they're just going to lose.
He was the favorite last year too,
and he showed up fat. And I just think that they, again, this is just some half-baked theories. Just that Vegas is like, people will look at Luka's numbers, they'll look at the way he's grown as a player, and they're just going to toss a bunch of money on Luka because he has the best odds, and they don't expect Luka to win it, and they're just going to eat that money because they'll pay out more on some of the long shots or the person who will probably end up winning the MVP. But I just again, me guessing that there's probably less money coming in, a lot less money, significantly less money coming in on the person who's probably going to win. So, EB, do you think Luka has a legitimate case for MVP moving forward? If so, please make it for me.
Most definitely. And I don't think he's going to win it, but does he have a case? Definitely. His numbers are there. People like him. He's fun. There's a lot of voter fatigue with other people that are going to be in the running with him. So when you say, is he going to win it? I don't think so, because it's really saying he's going to, it's him versus the field. I would take the field because there's more people, but he's definitely in the running. But when you think about it, his team is probably going to finish 5th at best in the West. I think they're probably going to finish like 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
And they've kind of gotten over dudes with great stats whose teams are finishing around 6th or 7th because they've done that too many times before. So that's why I don't think he's going to win, because his team won't have the production. But he puts up the numbers. He's a likable dude. I definitely think he will be in the conversation. It's not outlandish to have him as a favorite and as the favorite. I just don't think he will win it. But there's definitely a case to be made.
Question for you, Parlay Pete. Do you think Luka makes his teammates better?
I think he definitely elevated the Mavericks the moment he got there. And I look at it this way, just because even when I bet on basketball during the regular season, Kristaps Porzingis, misses games, of course. We know this, right? That's kind of a common story with his career, too. He's an injury-prone player. And the Mavericks were still winning games. Guys were stepping up. Luka, practically averages a triple-double with 30 points. He's a fucking baller. There's no mistake in that. We know that. And kind of like what EB just said, it isn't outlandish to think that he can win it. But at the same time, I just pulled up the odds just so I could get a look at it. He's the favorite at plus 400, and the second closest is Joel Embiid at plus Well, they got this a little out of order. Giannis is actually second at plus 650.
Throw both of those out there. Terrible
And that's a
game.
guy that's won 2 of the last 3.
Fatigue.
And won. He didn't win Defensive Player last year, but he did that 2 years ago. He won both in the same year. I just look at it kind of as one of these things. It's always going to be about when you start picking MVPs before the season even starts. First of all, we got health, of course, which that's with everybody. And the grind of the NBA season, they're coming off a shorter year, right? Shorter off season, and still kind of reeling from the past 2 years of basketball with COVID. And, Luka is the youngest of all the people. So, of course, he would be, by that standard, the most healthy, right?
But he played in the Olympics.
He's got the freshest legs. And then it probably helps that he showed out in the Olympics, too. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to add all these factors into why Luka's the favorite. Do I think that he should be the favorite? No. Giannis should be the favorite because he just came off being the best player in the NBA. He won the title. He won finals. He dropped fucking 50 points in a game 6. Giannis should be the favorite. He's won 2 of them already. He should be the favorite. Do I think he's going to win it? No, because I don't think that Milwaukee's going to repeat. But if you come in with just the expectations, if I had to pick somebody myself, and that's just if I was a gambler, man, I would probably go out and say it's going to be Steph. And that's just because I expect Clay to be back healthy and Wiseman's going to be back. And I think that he's going to take a step in his game. Wiggins now is in would this be year 3?
Wiggins, yeah, year 3 there. Yeah.
Year 3 there. Kerr is a good coach, contrary to popular belief, just because he's got all that talent. He's still a basketball guy himself. That's the type of guy that I would place my money on. His odds are at plus 700. I think that Steph's going to give you the numbers. The Warriors are – they're going to – are we going to be doing – we're about to be doing predictions here soon, right?
Yeah. That's the next segment that I got.
But Steph is the type of person that I would want to put those type of bets on. Somebody I know isn't going to miss too many games, even though he gets injured too, it seems like. But I think with a healthy Clay, I don't see why not. That's who I would put my money on. But Giannis should definitely be the favorite. But it's also not outlandish that Luka is the favorite, and I could see him winning it too.
How much cheddar would you guys put on a Donovan Mitchell MVP?
None. He just had
it on
Giannis.
Record.
Yeah,
Giannis or Steph, really.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with Steph.
It really is down to 2 guys, and maybe KD. Especially
KD and James Harden are going to cannibalize votes from each other.
If Kyrie doesn't play, maybe one of them. Because you got to look at it.
You can't see Donovan Mitchell averaging 27 a game and then being the 1 seed again.
27, 8, and 6. No, I don't see it. They just had the best record in the NBA, and I don't think he got a vote. So, no. And I know he got hurt at the very end of it, but he was never even in the conversation. Nobody was talking about him. It was a 3-man race the whole year. It was Steph, Embiid, and Jokic.
Joker.
No. Yeah. LeBron was in that before he got hurt.
He was.
And LeBron, okay, well, the second post All-Star break, it was a 3-man race.
Okay. So here's something interesting about that. And we're not getting to our predictions yet. But our guy, and I'm not even going to get into our Atlanta conversation yet, but we're talking about these awards and whatnot. Trae Young gets no all NBA respect. But if you go back and you look at the numbers, and then you go, oh, they were a 5 seed, and then you watch the playoff, you go, Trae Young's going to be all NBA this year if the Hawks are a top 5 seed in the East just because of last year. And the reason he didn't get all NBA this last season was because of the season before where he got an all-star game and the media didn't like him being an all-star starter because his team wasn't good. And so they had to be like, yeah, he gets no all-NBA votes. But he was like 25-9, and he was a top 5 seed. And you go, that's all NBA play right there. If you look at the second half of that season, once they made the coaching change, you look at that record, you go, That's all NBA play right there. And again, Eric, EB, when we watched him play against Bron at Staples, right? We were just there. You remember how like LeBron controlled the game, and you go, "Dang, this dude is better than I thought he was." Until because I saw him in person. When I watched the Hawks lose the Game 6 to Philly, when I tell you when Trey wanted a bucket, he got it, and it wasn't just the threes, right? It's I need to hit a floater. I'm gonna put Embiid on my hip, and I'm gonna get a floater. Ben Simmons, I'm gonna put you on my hip. I'm gonna get a floater. You know what? Y'all got a 6-point lead. Let me hit this 3 real quick and get this crowd going crazy. And look at Quavo's diamond start dancing. You can see them shits from the nosebleed. And I go, he's doing that thing that you don't see on TV, but you see in person. Like I remember when I went and saw KD play in person against the Hawks. It was the post Joe Johnson years. We still had Jeff Teague and Al Horford though. And we were in college, actually. And I went and saw him. I go, oh, KD score. He really scores when he wants to. Like, it's not a, I score when I get the ball or when I can. No, KD scores when he wants to. And I saw that same thing in Trae Young. And because of that season, I think Trae Young is going to have that same cachet. But I said all of that to say that because Utah was the 1 seed, hey, just look for a Donovan Mitchell narrative.
It's not going to happen.
I stole that from somebody, by the way.
It isn't, and you have to be so dominant to win in like a place like Giannis is dominant in Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? Like there was some domination factor there. Karl Malone won, right? He won it twice in Utah. Yeah, he's the second fucking leading scorer in NBA history. Jazz were finishing first, in that late 90s era, obviously losing to Jordan, but it's going to take a lot for a guy like Spider to get it. Especially with how much the league is oozing with talent. It's oozing with talent. There are so many dudes that are that fucking good to where it's going to be tough to even get that type of recognition. And even with me, I've been a basketball person my entire life. Like, not just a fan. Of course, I played, had a little bit of success in high school, winning a state championship as a starter, 2-time starter. And then being on the Morehouse team, obviously Coach Brewer, may he rest in peace. He's, and then, of course, my good friend, Colin Sexton with the Cavs, he's a fucking dog, and he ain't even like that. Like, in regards to, like, a top 10, he's not like that.
You did the Devin Book comp. You did the Devin Book comp, and I said you were talking out your ass, and you put up the numbers, and I went.
Their numbers were exactly the same last year, and but the thing
is, on a bad team too.
And that's why I was hoping he got traded, but he didn't, and I'm looking forward to seeing him win that most improved player. Every year he improves, and the All-Star games in Cleveland, he could be the guy that gets to, during the day of the All-Star game, gets to come down and address the fans. I'd love that for him. Like I said, I've known him since he was 3.
How the All-Star games in Cleveland this year?
It is. I'll be there just cause he's, either if he makes it or not. I mean, I'm gonna be there.
That's a conversation for us to have the next time I see you in like 2 weeks. Yeah, that'd be a fun trip.
But the point is, I guess, and what I'm saying is that there's so much talent in the NBA to where, like, man, it's like 8 dudes that are really them dudes, and like LeBron is kind of hanging on to the end. We'll see what happens this season. I have to think that he's going to take a step back, and when I say a step back, he will still average 24, 25, 7 and 7. I think that that's a fair baseline for LeBron if he's healthy, which was never been a question, but now we have to because he's been hurt 2 of the last 3 years. I think and especially now he's got Russ. And
he got Russ on this team.
They're going to be taking days off. They're going to be taking those Kawhi days off anyways. And there's going to be days where Russ kind of just like does his own thing. And there'll be nights like where AD and LeBron don't play, but then like Carmelo and Russ cook. Like, you know what I mean? Or Malik Monk fucking has a
Who-
27.
Eric,
game.
hold on real
He's
quick. Hold on, about to be.
73. Like,
EB,
you know, there's gonna be those
EB,
days.
what you gonna do when Melo go off for like 35 in Staples?
I don't see it happening. As much as I want Melo to go up, I don't see it happening.
You don't think he'll have one 30-point game?
He gonna have one.
Think of how many
Even if
shots he's going to have to put up, how many minutes he's going to have to be playing. I just don't see that for
He was
Melo.
efficient in Portland. He was
LeBron
efficient.
and AD. It'll be a LeBron and AD sit game, and it'll be against somebody good too.
And it's his night
for him though.
He can still shoot the fucking ball. Let's stop. And he's a better 3-point shooter too now.
He is a better 3-point shooter, but he's not like jab step that little tiny bit of separation and then rise over you, Carmelo. He's like spot up Carmelo, and LeBron and AD not playing. Who's getting like Russ can get in the ball but that many times 30 points.
Bruh.
He's got to make 10 threes. You know he's not gonna hit 10 threes. So he's also got to do it. Like, I just don't see it happening.
Melo still has top 7 footwork in the league.
And he's gonna get to the line too. Like, I mean,
I don't see it. Melo's not driving, so he's not getting to the line like that.
That's true.
Melo has great footwork, but it's not the footwork we're used to where it's like that little jab, you gotta respect it. He's gonna get that little bit and rise up over you. Melo's just not. He's not as quick and agile like that anymore. And that twitchy, I just don't see it.
He ain't been the same without Lala, man.
Like 25 points is a lot, and that extra 5 is a big. I don't think he's getting there, and I want it for him. Like Melo, I want it for him. I don't see it happening.
It's a 6-point game.
So we're transitioning. Hey, hold on.
That's gonna be a couple free throws at the end. Like, I mean.
So we're transitioning to our predictions, right? So let's look at the West. We'll start with the West first. You know, we're talking about the Lakers already. Let's go to our resident Lakers fan here who is from LA. Not you, Pierce. You're a Lakers fan, but you're a Kobe Lakers fan. Eric is a Lakers fan.
I'm still a Lakers fan though.
I know, but
even now without Kobe, I'm saying.
Yeah. I know, but he's there. You know, he didn't jump on the Clippers bandwagon like the rest of the city. You know what I mean? He's real to the city. What do you think this Lakers team is going to do? Because the roster, it's like it's 2 separate rosters. Honestly, the roster's weird, and I think it's going to work because I'm a LeBron fan. Some would say, but I think the roster is going to work. What do you think is going to happen in LA, Eric?
I agree. I think the roster is going to work simply because, like LeBron and AD, there's no substitute for 2 guys that good, and 2 guys that good whose skills complement each other so well. I don't think Russ is like a savior, but I do think his skill set helps. If you sort of just let him run wild, it will take some pressure off LeBron, let him rest some. Melo can shoot. I would have liked to honestly keep KCP. So kind of bummed they didn't do that. And I would have liked to instead get Buddy Hield. That one didn't happen. But
so you wanted Buddy over Russ?
I think if they were still going to get Rondo, then yeah. I liked Buddy over Russ. I didn't know at the time they were going to get Rondo. I think it'll still work out fine. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 1 or 2 seed. The main thing is just going to be the health. But this roster, honestly, with AD and LeBron, I think you put really not us, but you put it ain't gonna take too much to be around.
You can probably put John Tass out there, and they'll be
okay. Be all right. So I think they're gonna be all right.
So before we go to you, Parlay Pete, on that, here's what I see about that roster, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit. Is that what Russ is going to provide for them in the regular season? Is what they're going to need to keep the seed high. What Buddy Hield will provide for them is what they would love to have in the postseason. But they were like, you know what? We'll find 80% of that in the moves that we make and on the buyout market, because the buyout market is still looming. So Parlay Pete, you look at this roster. What do you think your Lakers are going to do, and do you trust that they can find themselves in the finals and LeBron can get ring number 5 to tie Kobe? R.I.P. to the legend.
Kind of to piggyback off AB. I mean, I think that they're going to win a ton of games just because this team is definitely, certainly on paper. I know we got to wait because I remember everybody was crowning that Cleveland team when they got D-Wade, Derrick Rose. No, not Derrick Rose.
IT. IT.
Thomas, Jay Crowder. Like, they got like a bunch of guys, and everybody was like, oh, shit. They like named like they're 10. And it was like, damn, that's like two different fucking units. Similar to this Lakers team a little bit. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that when it comes down to if they're going to win a championship, oddly enough, and this kind of shit does matter, I think it comes down to a guy like Frank Vogel. Like, how does he manage the lineup? And does he know when to put the right guys in? I know that everybody's like, yeah, LeBron's the GM and the coach and all this, and I get it.
But he's not.
He isn't. Yeah, he's a field general, of course, or a court general in this case. And, of course, he can put the bug into Pelinka's ear to get somebody or something. But at the end of the day, they still have to practice together and get this stuff put down. And especially Russ, I think Russ sacrificing is going to be the biggest thing. But I feel like LeBron's going to fall back more than anyone. Not statistically necessarily, but just from a standpoint of you and AD kind of run this thing. Like, I'm gonna quarterback it, but like, I want you guys to kind of run this thing. And I could easily see them being the 1 or 2 seed, and I think a floor for them would be the 4. I don't see them really falling below that. I think they host a playoff game, a home court playoff game, the first week of the playoffs. And so, like, I just think that it'll depend too, man. I mean, the West is loaded. Like, the Nuggets will have Jamal Murray back.
Golly, don't get me started on superstar Jamal Murray.
Hey, Jokic won the MVP. They were
Jamal Murray. Hold on. You brought the Nuggets. Hold on. You brought the Nuggets. Jamal Murray is the most overhyped 20 points per game ass player the NBA has ever seen. People are like, oh, when Jamal Murray comes back, yeah, and he gives you 20 points per game, and he won't make an all-star team, and he's not all NBA, and he'll go out for 47 one day on national TV, and then when he's deep into the league pass hole that no one's watching against Charlotte, he's going to go 6 for 27 with 14 points, and the Nuggets are going to lose a game that they should have won. So miss me with when Jamal Murray comes back, because probably the best thing that may have happened to Denver is MPJ getting his opportunity to get out there and cook and be the number one guy that he used to be until he messed up his back. You just can't get me with the Jamal Murray thing. Like, I've watched Jamal Murray play for years, and I think Jamal Murray is a really good – I think he's off-brand C.J. McCollum, if we're being honest. He's off-brand C.J. McCollum.
And that's fair. I think we talked about that in the group. We compared him, CJ, and to like Tobias Harris. They're these guys that are like they've never been all-stars. They have max contracts. They're good to where you kind of don't want to break them up because they play with said superstar. And some people were saying in Tobias's case, 2 of them. Hell, he played with fucking 3 of them. He played with 3 niggas that had a max contract. And
he played with Jimmy, my guy.
Jimmy, Ben, and fucking Embiid. And I guess that's why Doc's there. But
yeah, hey, speaking of which, I brought up CJ McCollum. I'll shoot to you first on this one, Parlay Pete. Do you think Dame Lillard makes it through the entire season as a Blazer playing for Chauncey?
Yeah, just because I don't see where the perfect fit and what they want in return comes. I don't know how many years Dame has on his contract. I bet it's probably at least 2. And
I'll look it up while you're talking.
It'll be hard for them to find somebody where they get the assets they want. It would have to be one of those, damn, this works out too well. Because they don't want to trade. Let's say that the Russ experiment goes wrong in LA and the Lakers are like the 5th and 6th, 7th seed. They keep losing games that they shouldn't lose. The Lakers would never the Blazers would never swap Russ for Dame. So, like, it would have to be a situation that works out perfectly for him to be gone. I think he's just going to have to play out.
He has
They're continue to be a team that fights to make the playoff. They're like a 7 seed, you know.
So Dame, he has a player option for 2024, 2025. So the last year that he's contractually obligated is 2023, 2024. So they could play hardball with him this year if they wanted to, if they don't get the deal that they want. Speaking of other players who may want to leave, EB, do you see Brad Beal making his way out of Washington with his unvaccinated ass?
I don't. I feel like if he was gonna ask out, it would have happened already. And now he gets the chance to have his own team for once. Like, yes, he was the man last year, and Russ was sort of second fiddle because he had been there longer. But now there's no one that can say like, hey, no, I'm up here on the same level as you. Maybe Kuz, depending on how he's feeling. But no, it's his team, and it's not even close. And I think he'll fill it out for a year. I'd at least give him a year because I think if he wanted out, he would have asked for it by now.
That's fair. Looking at John Wall, because we're talking about Brad Beal, it makes me think about John Wall, who is going to be like an assistant coach on the roster essentially this year. Does John Wall work anywhere else as an effective player that leads to winning? I hear him going to the Clippers, but does that make sense in your brain? I'll go to you, Parlay Pete, first.
Ceiling third option on a team that's a playoff team but isn't good enough to get past the second round. Floor goes to a team, contributes. Let's say for instance he goes to the Clippers. With that type of money, first of all, I don't know how they would make it work. But secondly, we saw the emergence of
it would be a buyout thing. I feel like Ballmer would send Fertitta some money under the table, and him
and Kevin Love are in those similar situations. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be an insider or anything, but I know that like the Cavs, it's a fucking open secret. They don't want him there, but nobody wants him either. But there's also plenty of teams that would take him if he didn't have that contract.
Yeah, he's gonna end up on the Lakers. He'll end up on the Lakers in the buyout because Kobe Altman gave him that stupid ass contract after LeBron left, similar to the contract that Pat Riley gave Chris Bosh after LeBron left. When LeBron leaves, people just give away money because it makes them feel better.
Yeah, and I just think that with a guy like John Wall, his injury history probably speaks more for his game. More than his game does now, as far as I'm concerned. We'll always kind of remember him as that guy. And maybe he can carve out a career kind of like Derrick Rose has now. Derrick Rose is still a hooper, but we know he's not who he used to be. You know what I mean? But he can still contribute and be a good player. To me, he was
clutch catch by the Giants left fielder.
He was the clutchest. To me, he was the go-to scorer because they kept trying to get the ball to Julius Randle. But to me, he was the go-to scorer for the Knicks. He still can give you 18. And John wasn't a scorer the way that Derrick Rose was.
He could be, though.
Their games are a little similar, and not just because they're both point guards. John takes the ball to the hole, too. They both were coached by Cal. So, like, there's like
John was a better defender than D Rose. I'm not gonna say he was more athletic, but I'll take John Wall's
Westbrook athleticism.
I'll take John Wall's first step in his prime over you name him. Maybe De'Aaron Fox has a better first step. Maybe.
Collins got an underrated one too. I'm just saying. But
you're a homer.
No, I'm not.
You were at the draft with him. You're a homer.
And he shot over 40% from three. And he averaged 25 points a game. But
hey, I'm Team Young Bull now. I've been converted.
He can fucking play. And I hate that they didn't give him his money. But
hey, look, I've talked to some people. I've talked to some Atlanta basketball people, and I've been converted.
Ever come out of here?
Huh?
He is one of the coldest high school players ever, and that's big in Atlanta to be one of. And obviously, we know what he did at Alabama too. But like, he's one of the best high school players.
Roll Tide.
In the state of Georgia.
All right, so let's get back into this. Have y'all looked at the GM surveys at all from that stupid surveys that they do every year? I don't even know why they do it because the weird thing is, and I'm going to sound crazy, but as smart as many of the GMs are, I still don't think I they say a lot of dumb stuff. They're like guy they would build their team around like 3 or 4 years ago was Cat. No Mitchell Tyler. So, and I don't know, is anybody building a team around Cat?
At the time, it made sense to say. He's an elite level shooter. You think the defense is going to come along. Like, I understand Cat. He's very young. Like, offensively, if he would just get it together down in the post, and be a bruiser, it would make perfect sense. Could have been Joel Embiid with a better shot.
Yeah, but he's cotton soft.
Wait, but do you smell that? The way that description just went, except for maybe him not being the biggest bruiser down low, that smells just like somebody else that played in Minnesota too, that averaged 25 points and 12 rebounds.
No, KG was down there banging in that post.
That's
Or are you talking about Kevin Love?
Hell yeah.
He was down there banging in that post too.
I know. But that's what I said. Not as big a bruiser, but K Love obviously could shoot the ball. K Love was putting up similar numbers.
And he can't rebound anymore. I went to a Hawks game where he gave them guys like 42 and 20.
We watched him give them, it was the quietest 42 points, but it was 40. And he was like, a lot of his points were also banging down in there, getting balls off the rim and putting it back in. Like, he was a bully down there. And Cat just doesn't know.
Love had a span of like 4 or 5 years in Minnesota where he averaged over 12 and a half rebounds.
Kevin Love stays in Minnesota.
I know he had 1 year where he averaged 16.
If he stays in Minnesota, he's a Hall of Famer. If he
he's not
still
a Hall of Famer, but
I mean,
he's not.
I mean, he should have been in the All-Star game over Blake Griffin that year, and just throwing it out there.
He's going to the Hall of Fame still.
Kevin Love was on the Team USA before he got hurt again.
Oh, when he showed up out of shape?
Yeah, he was Team USA, which I didn't know how the fuck he got chosen. There was no way there wasn't somebody else, especially because you could have, even if you didn't want. I know how you were saying because like JaVale McGee, because we were all like, what the fuck? Like
JaVale McGee needed to be on that team, and I stand on that.
Don't Tyson Chandler JaVale McGee, please. He's not the same guy.
Hey,
he's not that guy, pal.
So the GM said, which team will win the 2022 NBA Finals? EB, who do you got winning the 2022 NBA Finals?
I think the Nets get it right this year.
Parlay P, who you got winning the NBA Finals?
That's tough. If I had to pick just right now, I'm going to say it's going to be the Lakers.
I'm glad I got somebody riding with me, baby, because I'm going with Brum and the Lake Show. But the GM said 72% Brooklyn Nets, 17% Lakers, 10% the Bucks. The Bucks aren't going to repeat.
They're not repeating.
They're not going to repeat.
Bud, think about it. Bud was going to get fired if they lost Game 7, and now we're talking about a repeat.
I mean, and if I can find the coaches thing, Bud is one of the top coaches on here. It'll just let you know about these GMs.
Well, and it's true though. I mean, one game can change everything.
Okay, here's a good one. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason?
If we're going to totality, the Bulls.
Okay, what about you, EB?
That was going to be my answer also.
The GMs, 47% of the GMs said the Miami Heat, 17% said the Lakers, 7% said the Nets, 7% said the Rockets, 7% said the Wizards. Other teams receiving votes, the Bulls, the Knicks, the Thunder, I don't know how, the Suns, and the Trailblazers. So let's talk about the Miami Heat real quick. Or y'all want to talk about the Bulls first? I want to give them a little bit of love too.
Go Heat first, just because I see why maybe everybody thinks a team that went to the NBA Finals in a COVID season and played in a bubble, and that was relatively competitive with that Lakers team, adding a champion, and Kyle Lowry is somebody I used to shit on. I used to shit on fucking Kyle Lowry. When they got swept by the Cavs, if you remember in the group chat, I told everybody, please blow this team up just for my sanity. Like, that Raptors team reminded me of the Atlanta Hawks so fucking much to where I was just like, the people of Toronto don't deserve this. Only Atlanta gets to deserve bad shit like this to continue to happen to us every year. Don't do this to them. And Kyle Lowry has changed my mind. Obviously, I think he played such a big game against Golden State that year. Like the clinching game, he was the best player on the floor that day. And he just
Was that
played
the
so
same year?
well.
Was that
And
the
then
same year
even
he was
last
taking
year-
charges in the All-Star game?
Huh?
Wasn't the same year he was taking charges in the All-Star game, the LA All-Star game? He was taking charges.
Yeah. He was, but he actually is. It's so weird how much he, not to say it like this, but I mean, he's like fine wine. He really has only gotten better.
Very
the
true.
older
So
he gets.
EB, you look at the addition of Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker in Miami, and apparently Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry are good friends. And then you got Tyler Hero, who's going to bounce back from, I think he was feeling himself a little bit because in the bubble, he didn't have the nightlife of Miami to distract him. He's going to bounce back saying he should be in that conversation with Luka, Trey, and Ja. When you put that big three together of Jimmy, they really got a big four if you think about it. You got Jimmy, you got Bam, the Olympic gold medalist, you got Kyle Lowry, little fat ass Kyle Lowry as I call him, and then you got Tyler Hero, man, my favorite hero. Do you think that for one, Hero is on the level of a Trey Young, a Ja Morant, a Luka Doncic? And do you think they have a legitimate big four and they could win the East this year?
I think they have a legitimate big three. I do not think Tyler Hero belongs in the same category as any of those people you just named. And he's a bucket, don't get me wrong. He's not a consistent bucket. We got to wait to see if this was a sophomore slump or if he's really that guy we saw in the bubble. But we also saw TJ Warren get 50, I think, on multiple occasions in the bubble. Yeah. So let's pump our brakes. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to do. I thought he was a bucket at Kentucky his rookie year. Even before the bubble, he was getting buckets. But we'll see. But they definitely have a very good team. The reason I would say Chicago, though, is because I think it has more boom possibility.
We're going to give Chicago some love. But what category of young player would you put Tyler Hero in, EB?
I already know what you're going to say.
I wouldn't even put him in the same category as like SGA, because I think SGA is consistent and Tyler Hero hasn't done that yet either. So I think like whatever the echelon is below SGA, because I think SGA is in the tier 2, right below all of people you just named. The job.
SGA was in the Devin Booker tier 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know where to put Tyler Hero, but he's below.
Can you just say the Kuzma shit you said in the group text, bro? Like I baited you. He just wouldn't fucking say it.
Yeah, I think that's where he is. Like a player that had some early success. Granted, like Kuz's success was on a Lakers team that was not good. And then they got LeBron and his production went all the way down in the gutter. But this dude's production was on a team that was very good and he did it in the playoffs. So I do want to give him some credit there where it is due. But yeah, that's where I see him, the Kuz level.
Thank you. So let's get to the Bulls, man. You got any words for Tyler Kuzma?
Look, Tyler Hero and Kyle Kuzma. But in terms of a tier, Tyler is – I want to pick the perfect player. To me, Tyler Hero is a more heralded Kevin Huerter. How about that?
I'd rather have Kevin Huerter.
I'd rather have Kevin Huerter.
Me too. But I'm just saying – but that's what I'm saying. He's a more heralded version.
Right.
Like,
I'd rather have Cam Reddish.
Because he had that bubble performance, now everybody's like,
no, I think Kayvon passed him after what he did in Game 7 last year.
Somebody said that the centerpiece for a fucking James Harden trade was Tyler Hero.
And no, there were people, Colin Cowherd was one of them who said, nah, you can't let Hero go for James Harden. Excuse me? You think that bubble shit is real?
Yeah.
Bro, you don't think James Harden could get out here and average 40 points a game if he didn't care about winning?
Clearly.
Smelling like Casamigos and name that strip club? He probably got his jersey up in Starlets already. And he ain't been in Brooklyn a year.
He's a good. I think he's a good young player. I wouldn't even give him the money that, as of now, like Evie kind of just said, we really need to see if this was just a sophomore slump. I wouldn't give him the money that they gave Duncan Robinson.
Hell no. Nah. He would get 3 years, 32 out of me. That's the best he gets.
Yeah, that Kuzma type shit. Yeah.
Yeah, a good tradable contract.
Right, and somebody thinks that they're worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. I think he's like a good Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I think that's the best comparison right there.
Fair.
Not because they're white.
No, it's just fair.
But let's talk about the Bulls a little bit, because the GMs gave the Bulls like no love. But I don't know if the Bulls are going to be good. But I'll tell you, they're a fun 2K team, and they're going to be a great watch on League Pass, because when they start that small ball group out there, and you can get Lonzo's going to emerge as a top 10 point guard, but he's not going to have the scoring numbers of the Stephs, the Kyrie types, if Kyrie plays, the Dames, but he's going to be playing real point guard, like the point guard we grew up watching. And he's going to be highly effective. He's going to be like a 17-8 type guy, 17-8-5, 17-8-6.
I think you're giving him way too much credit there. 17 with Levine, DeRozan, and Boost. No.
Okay. Let me give him 15.
Unless they're running a 6-man rotation every night. No,
I'm gonna give him 15. I think he can find 15 points.
Give me 13.8. That's about where I can see a guy like him. But give me the 10 assists or the 9.7 for sure. He's gonna be all, and 4.5, 5 rebounds. Give me that for sure. He's gonna be great for fantasy basketball.
Oh yeah, like Lonzo is a really good point guard, but the point I was making is his numbers aren't gonna speak to how good he is. But watching him push that ball, and then you got Levine, who's leaving Chicago. Oh yeah, Levine's out. Hey, Levine, go ahead and sign with Clutch so we can move this Russ contract and bring you to the Lakers. You're gonna have Levine out running. You're gonna have DeMar playing old school 1995 basketball in the short corner and the elbow, playing like old school 2-guard ball. And then the Caruso. When I see those 4 on the court, it's just going to be fun. And I don't think it's going to be winning basketball at all. But it's going to be a good watch.
You're going to look at it as a surprising SVP. Like when SVP says the best thing he saw today.
Yeah.
It's like an SVP highlight reel of all the guys that give him the best thing that he saw in a given week for the NBA.
So, EB, how do you feel about this one? Because there was rumors that DeMar was going to come to your Lakers team, and obviously you're losing your guy Caruso. Talk to me about this Bulls team for you, man.
I think they're going to be fun. I think the Heat made the best moves, like when we said that, but I think the Bulls have the most boom potential. And I think the team's just going to be fun to watch. Those are the moves that I'm most excited about. Like, I'm not excited to watch Kyle Lowry on the Heat. I think they will win more games, be very good. But I'm excited to watch Miami. Like, I'm excited to watch the Bulls, Zach LaVine, and Lonzo just running. Like, that excites me. I think that'll be fun basketball to watch. And I love DeMar's game. I know it's outdated with how basketball is played today, but, like, he's Afro Kobe. Mid-range, the athleticism in his prime was up there, but that's why to compare him to. And now he hasn't taken the game back behind the 3-point line, so the game has outgrown him. But like I like his game. I still like watching mid-range. I like, we need a 2, we can dump it to you at the free throw line extended, and you're going to get us a bucket. So I like watching that.
Bro, a couple years ago, I had a guy that I hoop with damn near every day, and he called me DeMar because I just could not hit a 3. But I want to hit another one of these GM questions for y'all. Who is the best head coach in the NBA? Parlay Pete, give me your coach.
Oh,
Looks like we're seeing the Dodgers, by the way.
yeah, they're up. That's
They still got to win another game. They still got to win this one. Hell.
Well, bro, y'all had to win another game against us last year, and y'all did. I trust y'all the ability to win another game.
If we're talking about the guy that does the most with the least,
I'm just saying, who do you think is the best coach in the NBA? So I can tell you what the GM said.
I would probably take Quinn Snyder, to be totally honest with you.
Where we going, EB? Doc Rivers?
He's up there. Oh man, he's up there. But
not on my list.
And I was being facetious. I do actually really, really like Nick Nurse.
All right,
he's
so
he's a really good coach too. Yeah.
The GMs say Spo. Heat culture. Number 2 is Monty Williams. That's
recency bias.
Even if he is, it's recency bias this year.
He was good with the Pelicans too. He was good. I mean,
that's a strong word. He wasn't terrible.
They had
number three.
They got a 2 seed 1 year with him.
Here we go though. Number 3, Quinn Snyder. Number 4, Pop. I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with that. Number 5, Bud.
No, Bud was a pinch toe away from getting fired. No.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Hell, if anything, let's start giving Nate McMillan a little bit more credit too. Seriously, I mean, I'm not saying he's the best coach in the NBA.
But
what I'm saying is that if they
Nate was the voice of reason
award for coaches, he would have won it last year.
I give it to Tibbs before I give it to Bud.
Well, people don't like Tibbs because Tibbs is a regular season coach. It just gets everything out of his players, and by the time the regular season is over, they're like, "Hey, Tibbs, I'm dead, bro. We practiced every day."
Yeah, Bud, I'll say it as well.
No, Bud just doesn't do it for me, and I don't like that Ty Lue didn't get any votes on here, although he was number 1 on best in-game adjustments. Let me see. There's another one. There's another one I wanted to find here.
I don't think that Ty Lue's a bad coach either. I don't know. I feel like he's just always had a lot of talent around, but I'll leave that at that.
So I can't find the one I'm looking for, and it's taking me too long to get to it. But I kind of want to talk about Ja Morant because he was on the list of breakout players. He was one of the top people on this year's breakout players. But call me crazy, but I feel like Ja has already busted out, in the words of Rick James. He was an 8 seed going into the play-in his rookie year after his team getting the 2nd overall pick. And then he beat Steph to make it into the playoffs. And it wasn't his fault. They didn't beat number 1 seed Utah. And Ja played his ass off.
They won game 1.
Right. What more so my question for y'all is, and I'll go to you, Parlay Pete, first. What more does Ja need to do to get this NBA crowd to realize that he's here? He's doing what we thought De'Aaron Fox was gonna do. He's leapfrogged them because De'Aaron Fox plays in Sacramento, where the fucking
But nobody cares about De'Aaron Fox either. Like you said, there are certain guys that are league pass guys. That's De'Aaron Fox. He's a
great league pass guy.
He's also a guy that, if you lost your 7 o'clock game parlays, you're looking towards 10 o'clock and you're like, God damn it, can the Kings cover this spread tonight against the Warriors? That's what type of guy he is. And with Ja, this is the thing with Ja. Jaren Jackson wasn't really healthy last year. And I think that people got to realize that Jaren Jackson is
good as fuck.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good player himself. Has an all-star ceiling. You know what I mean? He does have that kind of talent. He's capable of being a John Collins that can shoot that can knock down some threes for you.
They can be one of the best young 1-2 punches in the league.
You said what?
They could be one of the best under 25 1-2 punches in the league next year.
Well, but that's exactly why I brought up John Collins, because think of John Collins and Trey. Trey has John Collins, right? John can't shoot the ball as well as Jaren Jackson, but John,
he will dunk on your head.
He will dunk on you, and he's still going to give you that 20 and 10 to go along with it, even with Capella next to him, right? The Grizzlies.
Hold on, real quick, probably Pete. Eric, if you could have been in that arena when John Collins dunked on Joel Embiid,
I believe you.
Yeah. It was up there when you saw Reggie Bush get JUCO boy at Fresno.
That was the highlight of my life.
You were there?
I was there.
Wow.
619 all-purpose yards. Won himself the Heisman that night.
He ran back a couple. Well, he definitely ran back at least one kick return, but
I think a punt
kick. He took a special teams one to the house.
Yeah, it was honestly like the best thing I've ever seen, and it was crazy that I was there and watched it in person.
I don't even want to get into this, but just quickly, that the boy for Texas reminds me of him. But let's go.
So again, what is it going to take for people to give Ja Morant his respect? Because everybody is all on Zion out of that class, and Zion's generation with Zion's that. Well, Ja's team fucking wins, and they win because of fucking Ja. And if you look at their roster, I take New Orleans roster any day over Memphis roster, and Memphis is doing better.
I don't know about that one. I think I'd take the top of New Orleans roster, but I think Memphis has a better, like, top to bottom roster.
I just need 7 people. The other 8, who cares? They're barely going to play.
Yeah, I mean, you take Zion and BI, and I mean Lonzo is there too, so yeah.
Zion, BI, Lonzo. Before they got rid of JJ Redick, we had JJ there. I'm not a big Jackson Hayes guy, but whatever. What's my man's name from Villanova? The greatest role player in the league right now?
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart. Who else do they have on it? Steven Adams. I thought that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bledsoe, that was stupid too. Like, you should have kept Jay Rue.
Oh, you're talking about Memphis' team.
Yeah, I'm talking about New Orleans last year before the offseason. What I was saying is I just think that Ja has done more with less.
I think they're very comparable teams. And then you also got to remember who New Orleans coach was.
Oh, Stan Van.
So subtract 5 games right there.
That's fair. I just want to say that the main point of this is I just think Ja deserves more respect than what he receives for what he does, because Ja ain't out here for the glitz and glam. He just out here balling. And Zion already out here requesting trades. It's like, hey, Zion, before you request a trade, you need to request a chef with your big ass.
I think that when Ja came in and when we just saw him at Murray State, the first person everybody thought of was Westbrook. That's who I thought of. That was the first person.
Westbrook would have feel for the game, though. He can feel pace.
Yes. I think definitely he's better than Westbrook was even in his first 3 years. I think that we can all agree that Ja has been better. And I think in Westbrook's first 3 years, they did go to the finals, right? That third year, the Thunder were in the finals.
11, yeah, because he got drafted in 08.
KD was like in his 5th year or 4th year. Yeah.
I want to say
his 4th year.
Yeah, so the third year, Westbrook, they were in the finals because it was Harden's 2nd year. And Ibaka was in his 3rd.
We don't care what year Ibaka was in.
It was Harden's 3rd. He also, Russ had Harden and KD on his team. So I think Ja is further along, but Russ had better teammates by far.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He had KD.
KD was like soon to be MVP.
KD is what, in the top 5 players that we've watched as adults, probably number 3 behind LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah, he was already winning scoring titles by that point.
Right. He was already winning scoring titles.
Yeah, his hair was already nappy, and he wasn't balling yet.
Championships. So that goes to tell you just how nasty KD was, like then. But I think that Ja's just going to be a product of somebody that's stuck somewhere until he moves too. And I'm not telling him to go to the Lakers or anything. But a guy like Ja, realistically, if Zion doesn't get his way first, you add a guy like Ja to the Knicks, because he actually fucking plays defense too.
People will come play with Ja.
MSG, the dunks, like the freakishly fucking athletic plays, the never giving up even when you're down 17 to the Utah Jazz in the regular season and you call somebody a parlay, stuff like that. Yeah. That's the type of stuff that like makes somebody special in the league.
All right, so is there anything else y'all want to hit before we do our Atlanta Hawks segment?
I'm just going to run through it real quick just because I can run through it very quickly. MVP, Steph Curry, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to say that Giannis actually gets it again. Most Improved Player, Colin Sexton. Rookie of the Year. That's the only one that I guess I haven't really thought about. Who the fuck is the rookies?
Jalen Green.
It's gonna be between Jalen Green and Cade.
My man, Jalen Green. The nigga that's at Houston, because he's just going to be getting to take all the shots he wants, and he's pretty good. But give me Jalen Green, Rookie of the Year, and that's all the awards.
That's all that matters.
Most Improved Rookie.
And
Coach of the Year, Billy Donovan, Dark Horse.
It's not a bad choice. You know, we're talking about Coach of the Year, and I meant to drop in the group. I don't know what the odds are on Brandon Staley for Coach of the Year NFL, but those odds aren't too bad. He's gonna win. It's time to throw some money on Staley. If I'm gonna make a prediction on the awards, let's see. MVP, my real prediction, bruh. I really don't know. It's such a hard. I mean, it's hard because the Lakers a Lakers player won't get it. I don't think Devin Booker or Chris Paul could get it, even though Chris Paul deserved it last year.
Suns will be the 6th or 7th seed, but go ahead.
The Sixers, hell no. I can't see anybody in the East getting it outside of Giannis because KD's not going to get it, but that's just a bad narrative if Giannis gets it because he's already won 3 and he's going to have the same numbers that would give him 3, but he's going to have the same numbers that he's had in the previous 4 seasons. Like his numbers aren't going to change. We're just not going to give him. So the best storyline, you know what? I don't care. Y'all shitted on it, but I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell MVP. I just can't go anywhere else. Rookie of the Year, Jalen Green. If Jason Tatum can get the Celtics to a 3 seed, he has a great case, but I don't see him doing that.
Oh, you think Dennis Schroeder's going to earn his contract?
Huh?
So you think that Dennis Schroeder's going to earn his contract?
I mean, shit, is he going to show up? That's all he has to do to earn his contract. The one he's making now.
Earn the one that he got before.
Yeah. He'll be fine. Sorry, my dog's acting great. He'll be fine because the market dried up. So that's why he did what he did. Just it's a bad market for him. But Coach of the Year, Frank Vogel or Steve Nash will deserve it because they'll put up with a bunch of bullshit, but nobody will care about that. Quinn Snyder, man, you can never go wrong with just guessing Quinn Snyder. Again, I'm just pulling shit out my ass right now because I'll be better 20 games in. And then anything else after that, I'm done. Let's talk about the Hawks. All right, man, take off, dog. We'll finish this off talking about the Hawks.
Y'all boys be easy.
Appreciate you, B. Everybody else got to wake up in the morning. Let's talk about our Hawks, man. So do you think our Hawks, what we did in the playoffs was real and we can duplicate that? Or are we going to be like a 7 seed or 8 seed and just...
No, absolutely not. I don't see a 7 or 8 seed in that team. I think that even though they overachieved, and people got to remember, from a record standpoint, they were the 5th seed, right? So the question is, do they improve upon their seeding? With Miami being the team in your division that, and even though we won our division, actually, but because of how the NBA seeding works, we were the 5th seed. Yes. I think that they're going to be better than they were last year from a record standpoint. I don't think that they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals or anything. I think that they definitely will be in the second round and will be a tough out no matter what. Unlike the previous Hawks teams that were, you know, before LeBron got to Miami, that were winning the division every year, being the 4 seed. They might beat Miami in that 4-5 matchup, or Milwaukee in the 3-6, the way that they were doing. So I do think that they'll improve upon wins. And I know it was a shorter season, but they'll improve upon the wins percentage. How about that? Win percentage. They'll improve upon that. I could see them. They're so right where they're at. And if they were the 5 seed, I could see them being the 4 seed this year, because and I know that sounds so
here's
easy.
the thing. Here's the thing, Pierce. I went to Bucks Game 6 when Cam Reddish had his coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you that Cam Reddish had the most confidence on the court, even we're down 15 and he's making clutch defensive plays, he's hitting 3-pointers. He was acting like it was a 2-point game. And the fact that he's talking shit, he's getting in people's faces. Cam was the only person who was carrying that game because Trey's ankle was bummed and Trey was done. Trey knew he wasn't Trey. But the way that I saw Cam care, and then our guy from UVA, whose name just slips my brain right now, with him not being available for the playoffs, I go, as long as Nate figures out how to sub these guys right and keep people happy during the regular season for the games that don't matter, to ensure that they step up in the playoffs, we're going to be okay.
For sure.
We're going to be better. And we might be the 5 seed again, but we're going to be a better team.
And the person you're thinking about is DeAndre Hunter. And
that's the guy I couldn't think of his name. DeAndre Hunter, yes.
DeAndre Hunter, and think about it, he got hurt too. He didn't play in that Knicks series.
He didn't.
That they won in 5 games. And granted, the Hawks were just better than the Knicks. I thought that was such an easy series bet. DeAndre Hunter was the second leading scorer. Most people would mistake it for John Collins, but DeAndre Hunter was actually the second leading scorer on the team. And the thing is, they have such a great young nucleus, and I think them bringing back Lou, because to me, that was maybe the most important, aside from making Nate McMillan the head coach, those were the 2 most important factors to why that team was so good. They brought in a 6-man and somebody that could relieve Trey and also play with them, even though it was a terrible defensive backcourt.
But Lou is one of those people he's not trying to prove anything anymore.
And Lou was sad. He was happy to be home, but he was also sad because remember he had put that post up, and then it said even after the run that he had thought about retiring. There was so much.
He talked about on a podcast before after Kawhi and PG came to LA, and he talked about when he was a Laker how he had kind of decided he was going to make LA his home because he has a kid and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes to Houston, and then he makes his way back to the Clippers, and he's like, okay, yeah, I said I was going to make this my home. This is my home now. And then he gets moved to Atlanta, which is actual home. So it's more convenient than any other place.
He was going in the bubble to get some wings from Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a good night in Magic before.
Yeah.
And but the point
video the other day too.
That's funny. That's funny as hell. But the fact of the matter was, it was just like this was a guy who wanted to be he had gotten comfortable living in LA. He was going to make LA his home and so on and so forth. But I don't think he is who he is for Atlanta in any other situation.
No. And the weirder part about it is, and I can't wait to see how it works, but they drafted Sharif Cooper, who I thought he slid so far,
he slid, but it makes sense why he's
players too. I look at him as a microwave guy that comes off the bench. And granted, Lou is the best at it. And I'm sure that Lou, I know that he had re-signed, obviously, but it was probably only a 1-year deal. I don't know how much longer Lou wants to play. Maybe he wants to Jamal Crawford his way out of the league to where, Jamal dropped like 50 in that last game of his career, and he was 39 or 40, and then nobody picked him up the following year, which was even weirder because he can still score the ball. And he's too good for the big three, but he is.
I mean, no, because he still goes to the pro-am in Seattle where the pros play and he gives people buckets. But I think Sharif is going to move into that Lou role after this season. I think Sharif dropped for pretty much because he didn't play the full college season.
Yeah, that's true.
And then even the guy from Duke that we got 2 steals.
Well, we got guys that, for the most part, unless they show it in practice and then prove it in games in the limited capacity that they get, they're not going to be logging any real minutes because the team is so deep.
Right, but they are guys but both of them are guys that got underdrafted because of different reasons, where the Duke kid whose name I can't remember, and I'm not going to look it up because we're almost done, he just stopped showing up. He was like, yeah, Duke, I'm done.
You're talking about?
And then with Sharif, because he went to Auburn and he played for Bruce Pearl, and if you know anything about Bruce Pearl, you might have to sit out games so that the team can keep him.
Well, so that he can get you there to begin with.
Right. Bruce Pearl's gonna do what Bruce Pearl does, and because of that, Sharif didn't get to play. But like,
talking about Jalen Johnson, by the way.
Jalen Johnson, yes, but Sharif was a bucket. We just gotta hope he can develop his 3-point shot consistently. But as far as getting to the cup, playing basketball, really playing Georgia basketball. Because the thing about Georgia basketball, a lot of people don't really take into consideration, it's not as fluid point guard play as New York basketball, but it's very similar in the sense that we're not out here just shooting your eyes out. We're getting to the bucket. We're shooting the middies. We're playing physical basketball. Like, hey, yo, get off me and one, and I'm not calling fouls, and I'm gonna finish. And when I don't finish, and you try to give him the foul and be like, nah, bro, I was supposed to finish that shit. Is that Georgia basketball like in a nutshell?
I would agree for sure. There are so many guys that have come out of here in the league, been in the league, never made it to the league, that have been just bona fide like stars, like them guys, they're studs. Of course, about the guys, of course, that like your Lou Wills, your Dwight Howards, Josh Smith, Colin Sexton. There are guys that are Atlanta bred. Everybody knows it because
Jeremy Lamb
is Norcross. Let me tell you, another guy I got to play against Jeremy Lamb too. It wasn't a pro-am league. I forgot. It was in Sandy Springs. So when I was in high school.
What's my man's name? Lorenzo. He went to NC State.
Yeah.
With the Centennial.
Yeah. No, Lorenzo. Yeah. No, I know exactly who you're talking about. Glenn Rice Jr.
He played with my homeboy Rod at Centennial. I'm trying to think of some other people. What's the guy he played at Wheeler and went to Miami?
Well, Wendell Carter, he went to Wheeler too.
I know Wendell went to Wheeler.
He was the top 5 pick.
Daquan Jones, I think it was his name. He played at Wheeler. He went to Miami. You had we got Derek Favors, another physical guy.
You could go down the list of guys that play ball here. Like
it was another cat whose name I can't think of. He played at Wheeler right now. I can't think of his name. And he went to NC State and he went and got drafted by the Cavs. He's a big man.
Jaylen Brown is also in Atlanta.
Jaylen Brown, he went to Wheeler too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I mean, yeah, Wheeler puts him out.
They put these niggas in, man.
Hey, but look, Ferris, we got any more basketball shit to talk about? Because nigga, we're gonna talk in like 2 days.
Less than 48 hours. You're right. Well, nothing else to talk about basketball. But before we even sign off, man, let's give a big shout out to the Braves for getting it done and not falling. We can stand up for it too. Not falling for the Atlanta curse on sports and taking care of a team that I thought they were better than and then overcoming an injury like an Acuna and a semi handshake.
Ozuna's been out the season for his legal shit.
Ozuna, exactly. That's what I was about to say. And with Ozuna out, these guys, and then Soroka tore his Achilles again. A lot of people don't realize it, but big ups to fucking Brian Snicker and the boys for getting us to the NLCS. I can't wait to go to game 1 or game
Absolutely,
3.
man. Chop on. We're not supposed to be here. When's game 1, by the way? Is it on the schedule yet?
It depends on what happens. If the Dodgers win the series, game 1's going to be here. I think Friday. No, not Friday. It would be Sunday or Monday. And if the Giants do win the series, which right now it doesn't look like the Giants. Well, they got 3 men.
I mean, they got the bases chucked right now in the 5th.
Give me the Dodgers in this game. I think it's going to go to game 5 regardless, unless this guy hits a grand slam or something. But
right. So here's what we're gonna do. I don't care about game 1 because we're not gonna play at home either way. I'm gonna be looking at game.
I think we would even against. Yeah, I know record wise we're not better. I think we would be at home though
against the Dodgers because we are division winner. So if we play Dodgers at home game 1, I'm hitting the road. We're going to the game.
You got to. I'm gonna get a sweep. I was trying to get one for the game tonight, and I was too late. But they and really they're sold out already for the NLCS. But they have one where we can be in the Chop House, but I have to get 18 tickets. So I already gave my commitment in the down payment.
All right, bet. Well, just let me know what I owe you off of here, and yeah, we'll be there. All right, dog. Bro, I'll see you Thursday. You already know the topics. I'll send them to you and JP just for the sake of it. But it's not Herb. We're gonna go.
Gruden. Now we're on to another coach.
Yeah. We're gonna be Gruden. We're gonna go Gruden heavy. Al and Chris Collinsworth because I just wanted to kill them before the Gruden shit came out. We'll probably talk a little bit Lamar Jackson because bro, it really sucked that his best game
favorite, maybe.
Right. He's putting up better numbers in his MVP season, but
his one loss is an overtime loss that they, for what it's worth, really should have won.
It was game 1, and he didn't have his running backs, and he still doesn't have his first round receiver. It was his first game with Sammy Watkins. It all makes sense. But the fact that John Gruden just really put a cloud over Lamar Jackson's best fucking game, man, it kills me. But hey, Purse, I'll holler at you, dog. Enjoyed you. We did 2 hours talking hoops. Big baby out.
All right, we'll catch you.
Wrong button.